here we are, our sixth week into our congregational exploration of Musar. Just in case you are new to our synagogue, or if you have forgotten what Musar is, here is a short recap. Musar is Jewish character development. It refers to a spiritual perspective and also to a discipline of transformative practices. It was popularized in Lithuania around 1850 by Rabbi Yisrael Lipkin Salanter. Musar means correction or instruction, and it also means ethics in modern Hebrew. For its practitioners, it is a way of life, a way of engaging with the outside world and with the inner world as well. According to Alan Marinis, author of Everyday Holiness, the Jewish spiritual path of Musar, which I will be quoting quite extensively throughout this sermon, it shines light on the causes of suffering and shows us how to realize our highest spiritual potential, including an everyday experience infused with happiness, trust, and love. Musar offers a map of the inner life, and it offers a body of practices we can employ to transform our inner ways. It helps us identify the repetitive challenges we encounter in our lives and relate them to specific characteristics of our personalities upon which we can then work. Over the past 5 weeks, we have discussed the qualities of humility, patience, gratitude, compassion, order, equanimity, honor, simplicity, enthusiasm, silence, generosity, truth, moderation, loving kindness, and responsibility. We conclude with the final 3 soul traits, which all refer directly to God: trust in God, faith in God, and yirah, which doesn't have an exact English translation, but is sort of a hybrid of fear, awe, and reverence of God. I just read from the Torah, from the double parsha, Nitzavim Vayelech. Moses went and spoke these things to all Israel. He said to them, I am now 120 years old. I can no longer be active. Moreover, God has said to me, you shall not go across yonder Jordan. It is indeed your God, Adonai, who will cross over before you, and who will wipe out those nations from your path, and you shall dispossess them. Joshua is the one who shall cross before you, as Adonai has spoken. So let's keep these Torah verses in our mind as we explore trust in God, faith in God, and yirah of God. The classic image for trust in God is the story of the manna that fell from heaven every day while the Israelites were wandering through the desert on their way from Egypt to the Promised Land. God instructed the people of Israel to collect manna just for that day. They couldn't store it. They couldn't collect more. It wouldn't keep. It would rot. So every day, God provided food for only that day and nothing in the future. So that was the ultimate expression of trust in God, because everyone had to trust that God would provide the manna again the next day and that they would be able to survive. This type of trust can also be applied to life in the abstract, if you're uncomfortable with a deity. It's about acceptance. Acceptance that no matter what life throws at us, and even though we have so very little control over it, we can trust that hope and good continue to be options, that God or life provides a path always towards healing. We can choose to accept that even though our own mortality looms over us constantly, never far out of sight or mind, our lives, our choices, matter in both a practical and a cosmic sense. Alan Marinis says, not one of us can lay claim to creating him or herself. And when there is recognition that dying means giving up what was really never our own, there is nothing to fear. I still think it's scary, but okay. In the parsha we read today, Moses, even though he is gravely disappointed that he will not set foot in the Promised Land, he trusts that God will lead the Israelites across the Jordan River without him. Moses knows that even though the people will stray and God will punish them, they will eventually find their way back to God. Faith is hard to define. Rabbi Shlomo Wolbe teaches that faith means a conviction of the heart that God is immediately present and that we are under God's constant care. The Rambam, Maimonides, teaches that faith and trust are two separate concepts. The latter is dependent on the former, while the former is independent of the latter. Meaning, trust depends on faith, but one can have faith without trust. To continue, faith precedes trust and can exist in a believer's heart even when he lacks trust. For faith can exist without trust. Trust, however, denotes the existence of faith, for it is impossible for trust to precede it or to endure independently. That's a lot to chew on. Rabbi Wolbe continues to explain the foundation of wholeness is faith, while the Lubavitcher Rebbe finds a basis for faith in the conviction that there is right and there is wrong. The Musar teachers stress one sort of emotion. I'm not there yet. Okay, so in our Torah portion, can anyone throw out an idea about what part of it might be faith and what part of it might be trust? So before I talked about how Moses trusted in God, that God would get Israel across the Jordan and into the land, and eventually Israel would come back to them. So this isn't a question I have an answer to. This is a question I'm hoping you'll help me to explore. But where is the faith in this
Well,
parsha? Go ahead.
Talk about the trust.
Okay, that's not what I asked, Cohen, but okay.
I know, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But to me, the trust is physical.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where Moses' 120 years comes in. Because he trusted God with providing with more years, but then God said no. So that was his trust was gone. Now he knew that was the end. So to me, physical, if you trust in God, you believe that he's going to provide.
Right.
So your body keeps going. And you see that trust until it doesn't.
So I don't think that Moses expected to live forever. And I don't think we expect to live forever.
But did you know?
And I don't know like if my trust or faith in God is dependent on living forever. Right? Like my body's gonna go at some
But you
point.
don't know when.
Right. So I have to trust that, I don't know, God will take care of me until I die.
Exactly.
And then I'm
That's
supposed to
what-
trust
that's what I'm
that God
saying.
also takes care of me after.
But we know that
Traditionally
you can get
speaking.
hurt.
Right.
So that's the.
Okay, so you're talking about trust as a physical thing. Okay, I hear you. Brian, go ahead.
I think that the faith comes out of the conversation, that Moses actually engages with God, and these things are said to him.
Okay.
And so that
So trust might be,
supports a faith.
okay. So trust might be in physical stuff, and then faith is in relationships, perhaps you're suggesting.
Yeah, and
Maybe?
a history of interacting
And it,
with
okay,
a God
that cares.
that cares and has succeeded in leading them.
Okay, then they actually got to the promised land. So Stan, go ahead.
I thought that faith has to do with there is a God,
Like belief.
Yeah.
belief,
Okay,
and then you can trust that things are going to happen. But you have to have faith that there is a God first.
okay. So is there a difference between faith and belief, do you think? It's hard to define.
You believe, you have faith, you believe that there is a God. And then you can trust that things will happen. You can trust that he's going to treat the Israelites well.
Okay. Okay,
But you have to have faith that, first of all, that there is a God.
sure. Yes, a very traditional answer. Yeah, nice. Okay, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Historically speaking, though, Moses, you have to be sitting there, you're 120 years old, you've done all these things, and you've done them only because you believe in God, and maybe earlier on, it did, but so many people aren't around anymore, and you're there still, and it sort of defies the logic to think that, well, I mean, you have to view yourself as godlike to think that it should live forever.
Mm.
So, and I don't think that Moses would have been like that. I think Moses realized that, he was blessed and he has faith because of his experience, and he has trust because he doesn't need to know what is going to happen or who's going to do what. He just knows that God basically has got a plan, and that plan envelops all the people, and he knows that, at some point he's going to have to cease desist from the things, and it's good to actually, it's probably to have a successor is probably the last and most important thing on his mind.
Sure.
And quite frankly, it's probably even a relief that there is somebody there. So, we can look at it, glass half empty.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
I hear you. I'm going to add another log to the fire. We're going to talk about how yirah, this awe or fear or reverence, also influences our understanding of trust and faith. So, like I said, awe is often a prerequisite of faith, is what Musar teaches. So there's a sort of emotional experience in particular as effective in underpinning faith. So there is no experience in particular as effective in underpinning faith as yirah. So if you want to get to faith, one way to do it is through awe. So when we're overwhelmed by natural beauty or the miracle of life, we are often open to a feeling of oneness of spirit, or a belief that everything will be okay, or that everything will be worthwhile. It's something that we can cultivate. So what we learn about yirah, and also about trust, and also about faith, is that although we might not be able to articulate it in a rational sense necessarily, it's something that we can cultivate and bring into ourselves as we go through life. So we can look for moments of wonder that can snap us back into a sense of responsibility or fear of what will happen if we don't care, if we don't follow the rules, if we don't take care of our earth, if we don't take care of ourselves. So friends, we're heading into Slichot tomorrow night. We are going to be coming together at 8 p.m. at Bernie and Devira's, and we are going to be starting our journey, our official journey, through the Yomim Noraim, the days of awe. We will imagine ourselves standing before the divine, ready to be judged. Let us take some time this week to explore our trust, faith, and yirah of God. Let us take some time, also, we can explore whether we believe in God, or consider ourselves agnostic or atheist. It's equally beneficial to explore what we do believe in. One of my favorite movies, popular movie, Serenity, there's a moment where, I don't want to spoil anything. There's a very dramatic moment where something dramatic is happening, and a beloved character says to another beloved character, I don't care what you believe in, just believe in something. I thought that was pretty profound. So how we can benefit from experiences of awe and fear in order to help us become who we are meant to be in the world. I hope we will take the time this week in order to explore those things. So Shabbat Shalom.